Each year, as October approaches, a curious ritual unfolds. Two friends get together to discuss which of their beloved hockey teams will prove to be triumphant. Joe is a fan of the Montreal Canadiens. Like most Montreal fans, Joe mistakenly believes that the Habs are the greatest team to have ever played the game of hockey. Dave, on the other hand, is a supporter of the Toronto Maple Leafs. He too believes that his team is the greatest franchise in the sport. However, a 50-year championship drought has tempered his expectations. "This year," boasts Joe confidently, "my beloved Habs will win the Stanley Cup." "How can that be?" asked Dave. "Montreal is rebuilding. They have little talent up front and are in desperate need of defense." "True, they are young," says Joe. "But that will not matter. The mere honor of wearing the historic bleu, blanc et rouge jersey will propel the players to before hence unknown levels of skill. The quest begins anew when they play your Maple Leafs on opening night, a game in which they will certainly be victorious." "I disagree," says Dave. "The sheer depth of talent on the Leafs roster indicates that Toronto will win most if not all of the games between the historic rivals." "That will never happen," says Joe. "History is against you, and so is the curse." "The Hillman curse?" laughs Dave. "Why, that's just an old wives' tale." "Believe what you like," says Joe, "but I guarantee they will never win another cup. Even if the Leafs do manage to make the playoffs, they'll choke harder than a CBC radio host." "Nonsense," says Dave as he retires to the kitchen for another drink. Joe, like most fans of the Canadiens, was missing the part of his brain that told him when to shut up. So he continued. "Do you know how many Stanley Cups my glorious Habs have won?" asked Joe. Dave was keenly aware of the number, nearly double that of his beloved Leafs. Joe began to list each of the 23 Stanley Cup victories, highlighting the years in which they beat the Leafs to become champion. When this was done, he went on to list the great Montreal players that have been inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame. Rocket Richard, Bob Gainey, Jacques Plante, Boom Boom Geoffrion. Joe continued at length, rattling off a veritable who's who of hockey royalty. "That's quite a list," said Dave. "But allow me to share some Leafs history with you. You're forgetting that Toronto too has had their share of talent. Players like Sittler, Clark, and Horton. Gilmore, Sundin, and Salming. King Clancy, Red Kelly, and Teeter Kennedy. The Habs certainly have won a lot of cups, but Toronto's 13 championships are still impressive. I must also remind you that while you certainly had great teams, that was mainly due to an NHL rule that guaranteed you the top French-Canadian draft pick every year until 1969. Joe realized that his friend was just as passionate about the Leafs as he was about the Habs, and while the two teams may forever be rivals, there was no reason for that to come between the two friends. As quiet once again settled upon the scene, the two friends share a moment of camaraderie. Truly, hockey unites us all.